just killing it. So we need to abrade that, try and get rid of that. Don't want to hit it too hard or you just overshoot the opposite edge there. Just kind of trying to tap it just to get something to release there. We can get right there. Alright. It's a slow process. It takes taking me a couple hours to make a core from start to finish. 2 to 3 hours, depending on how large a piece I start out with. This is not as large of a piece, so you're not going to get as many blades, but this will probably yield close to 100 pretty usable blades that could be used for a multitude of purposes. Try. Kind of getting down where the point. I think I'm going to switch over to indirect percussion here. This gives me a lot more control when I do that. If I try and hit this with a bopper, chances are it's going to dive in, where with a punch I can get a flake like that to travel and curve around there a little bit better. There's nothing much I can do over here. I'll need to do that with a punch as well. I'm going to set up the punch and we'll move on to the next stage. At least we've established a platform up here. There's our distal end. We've got a few ridges here that we can follow with a punch driven force, and we'll go into that. Okay, I went ahead and took another flake off right in here using indirect percussion. I want to set up a platform right here and remove a flake. Hopefully it'll go all the way down here with a punch. In order to do that, I need to isolate that a little bit more. So I'm going to take some small flakes off right behind that ridge. Really need to abrade this obsidian, mostly just so that your copper won't slip off. It's so slick, or the dacite. A little spoon-shaped depression right behind that ridge, so we can put our punch right into that depression right there. And just like in bifacing, it takes a lot more time to set up these platforms than it does to actually remove the flake. I'll do a close-up when I get it all set up here. I like making a little fluting nipple. I like to take a flake on either side as well, further isolate it. One thing I found that works pretty good for me is just to take a chert flake and to score a line right on the platform, right where you want that crack to begin. I found that most of the time it will actually open up right where that scored line is, just like scoring glass to cut glass. And I think it helps reduce the amount of force that's needed to actually remove the blade. Hopefully you can see that on there. I have the scored line. That's where I want the crack to start. Braid it a little bit. That's just so that the punch won't slip off. I'm using a just an old 6x6 here cut out as a support for the distal end here. Found this works out pretty good. I just sort of cut it to shape here. Support the core in between my legs like this. That allows me to keep it from rotating, and the wood kind of acts as an anvil to support the distal end. You still need to squeeze it pretty tight. Put my, let's see if I can get that to focus there. It's not very sharp, as you can see. If you have it too sharp, it'll just crush the end of it. Put that on there. I like to angle it way out. Otherwise, if you angle it too much in like this, straight in, it's going to truncate the core, overshoot. Have it like this. Push on it really good. And there's the flake. It broke up as I removed it, but it went right to here, and that did real well. I just like to, anytime they're short like that, just use a little bit of percussion to straighten it out. Okay, I'll pick another ridge and we'll make a platform and show you this a little bit more. Okay, we'll set up our next flake on this ridge right next to the one that we just removed. So I'm going to isolate that a little bit more and remove a little guide flake. This area right in here is just too flat. So try and hollow it out right behind it. There we go. It looks a lot like a fluting nipple. And where's my chert flake? Here's what I'm going to do. Just to kind of help that open up a little bit easier. Score it. Braid it. Okay. Here's where we're going to put the tip of our punch. Hopefully the flake will travel down here. Secure it real good between the legs. Tip firmly supported on there. Pointing it out, quite a bit out. Holding it really hard. And there's our flake. A little bit of it broke off, but it went all the way to the end. Okay, and you can see that the ridges are getting straighter now as we proceed along with this process. I'll probably make another one right here. Well, I'm going to shut this off, analyze it a little bit. Yeah, I think this ridge right next to it looks like probably the best place to proceed. I always try and pick the area around the core that has the most angular ridge on it so that the flake will follow it easier.